It's Super Bowl week. If Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady have as good a call as this, they'll be in great shape. Boston College men's hoop down 4 with seconds remaining. Jon Meteparel on the call on the ACC network.
Jay Kelly hits a three with 3.7 seconds left. My goodness.
My goodness is right. Marchand and Meteparel. Everybody loves sports media. I'm Andrew Marchand. He's Jon Meteparel. Meet. Unbelievable finish for that Boston College Florida State game. And we have Super Bowl week. It's always great every Tuesday to be with you.
Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute to collect myself. Thank you, Andrew, letting it wash over me. I'm just honored. I'm honored that you played the call. Thank you so much.
That had to be fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was one of those things where I looked at my partner Eric Devendorf and I said, "Did that really just happen?" It was one of those, what the heck are we witnessing moments that you really don't get that often on broadcast. But thank you. We're going to start, of course. What do we have?
The agenda. Well, first off, also, I want to say it was sort of reminiscent. If you go back and watch the whole 30-second clip, which has about 2 million views on ESPN's Twitter account, X account. If you go back and watch, it was kind of like a Reggie Miller college version. Against the Knicks.
It actually was. That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
I wish I'd come up with that in the moment. Although, as you would say, stay away from the 90s references. So,
actually, it's unbelievable he didn't come up with it. That's like the biggest.
I know it is. It actually is.
That might be a bigger upset than the fact that they came back from 5 points down with 4 seconds left. Than
I could have gone to like the 80s with Andrew Toney. My God, he's like Tony against the Celtics in '83. All right,
there we go.
Here we go. The agenda. Yes, Super Bowl week. You're in New Orleans. Of course, we're going to talk Super Bowl. Tom Brady. Why is the $375 million man in the booth? How do you approach the broadcast if you're Burkhardt and Brady? Good question. What are our ratings predictions? And are we into Kendrick Lamar?
All right, it's not only going to be Super Bowl talk, mostly Super Bowl talk, of course, is the biggest week in the NFL and basically sports entertainment, but also NBA moves Reggie Miller to NBC, the latest on ESPN's Final Crew, and then we have some other stuff as well.
Yeah, don't forget about your blockbuster interview with Adam Schefter, which I thoroughly enjoyed, advice for Greg Olson, and Pac-12 TV chatter.
If you want to listen to the whole podcast, andrewmarchand.com to become a full-time subscriber. As always, we're sponsored by WSC Sports. If you're a publisher, integrate live video and highlights from the world's top leagues and teams, providing new content experiences for users. And if you're a rights holder, turn monetization on automatic and help new fans discover your content. It's easy. League, team, network, you got to call and get in touch with WSC Sports. You just Google WSC Sports. This is their WSC Sports Discovery Network Solutions. You Google them, WSC Sports, right-hand corner, yellow button, tell them Marchand sent you.
All right, Andrew, what is up in your world?
Sometimes, you got to go with the obvious. And the NFL is what's up. When you think about it, we kind of take it for granted, but what the NFL has done with the Super Bowl, they've taken over a week. They've taken over a day. It's basically a national holiday. Last year, 124 million people watched the game. This year, we'll make our predictions a little bit later, how many people will watch. But the way that this has turned into, and it's been for a long time now, a cultural event. There's nothing else like it in sports. I do think baseball with the World Series, the NBA with the NBA Finals, the NHL with the Stanley Cup, they have their place, and there's reasons that those can't be as big as the Super Bowl because it's not just a one-game event, winner take all. You have to get to a game 7 for those championships. But the NFL, they're my what's up because everything's about them. They have the leverage, and even though they're tough to deal with at times, they can be a little overbearing. Sorry, Alex Reifmiller, PR extraordinaire for the NFL Network and NFL media. They own the week, so my what's up is the NFL.
Hard to argue that, although I may have something for you in a minute. All right, my what's up, Shams Charania, ESPN NBA insider. Man, did he have a blockbuster weekend. Let's hear Shams with the scoop of the week.
I'm told that the Mavericks actually approached the Lakers and offered Luka Doncic a few days ago in a trade. Very recently, the Mavericks went out. They knew exactly who they wanted. They wanted Anthony Davis. That's the player that if they were ever going to trade Luka Doncic, if this was even a thought that was going to cross their mind, it was for AD.
This trade obviously seismic, no question about it. One of the biggest trades in NBA history. And Shams was on it at 12:21, I believe, in the morning on Sunday morning. Woke up to do my WEI radio show. My producer said, "Did you hear what happened?" I said, "No." He said, "Go look at Shams' Twitter account." Okay, it was 6:45 in the morning. All right, that was 6 hours later. But Shams, the point is, he earned every dollar they're paying him. Multi-million-dollar contract, no doubt for him. I know you have the number on that, but he earned every cent. And I know there's a lot of guys that probably had it as well, but a little bit later, I'm sure. They're playing catch-up. This is what ESPN hired Shams for, clearly the Adam Schefter of the NBA. Breaking stories. He was all over this one. Gave us some information we didn't know, especially about Anthony Davis. And, this is why they have Shams Charania on their staff. They need this type of guy to break news, and he did it well.
Yeah, in that clip, Kevin Connors from Ithaca College was the host of the Sports Center there. You had Meteparel with the ACC Network, Carl Ravitch on the big Arkansas win at Kentucky. So big day for ESPN and Ithaca College. And then I'm here to critique and say you guys are all terrible.
No question.
Yeah, my what's down is the same subject, and we need somebody to counter Shams, who's going scoop for scoop. Woj was the king before he retired. You can make a case that Woj might have been the greatest insider of all time. We might, again, in the summer months, maybe we'll do some of these lists, but you could make a list, especially Yahoo when he was blasting people in columns, then breaking every story, and also at ESPN. But you need somebody, you need the yin and the yang, because the only thing missing from the trade was just people battling for that scoop, as opposed to now it's just sort of, there doesn't seem to be someone who's fighting tooth and nail against Shams. The deal the other day, I would have liked to have seen that. So that is something that's a what's down. We need some kind of rivalry. You have it in baseball. You got about 6-7 guys who are always fighting for the scoops. In football, there's Schefter, there's Glazers, Rappaport, there's a million Tragers. You got a lot of people fighting for the scoops. But in basketball, we need somebody to challenge Shams.
College basketball has that. Our guy, John Rothstein from Ithaca College, one of those insiders, another Ithaca plug. But yeah, you're right. That's valid. I think it'd be nice to have a little competition. All right, competition in the NFL. I'm going to give you this one. How about the Pro Bowl? Awful. That's my what's down. I watched for 5 minutes and I had to turn it off. I had to avert my eyes. It was just horrendous. And whether it's ESPN, they're doing the best they can. The Manning brothers are doing the best they can. Everybody's trying to have some fun with it. I understand that. They don't want any contact. I used to love back in the day when I watched and to see my Patriot helmet out there. Oh, boy, there's Stanley Morgan. You could identify them by their helmets. That was fun in Honolulu with Al Michaels and Frank Gifford and Dan Dierdorf in the booth. Not so much anymore. It's not entertaining. All-Star games have jumped the shark. And this is one of them that's not even a game. It's a flag football game. It's like you and I out there on the Ithaca Quad. And there was more contact in those games. So this is something that needs to go away.
Fair. I mean, the one thing NFL has not conquered is how to figure out their all-star game. If you want to listen to the whole podcast, go to andrewmarchand.com, andrewmarchand.com. Adam Schefter was the guest on the main event last Thursday. This Thursday, still going football. Peter King, I'm telling you, this is an amazing episode on Thursday. You're going to want to hear Peter King's stories, strip clubs, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders, a lot for you, Meet, to listen to. One of the great, you could argue, I say this in the podcast, if you were to have a draft and pick for a sports writer, someone to cover the NFL, Peter King, he might be your number one pick. He's definitely high on your draft board. You'd probably take him. I got to think about it more deeply. But Peter King, an all-time great on Thursday's podcast. Subscribe at andrewmarchand.com.
Excellent. Little White House stories about the Cowboys back in the day.
It's some good stuff. It's